Good afternoon, everybody. Harrison back, the Arabian Pleb. What am I up to? It's been a little while. I've got to check. I'm up to, my last one was number 11. I'm up to number 12. Show number 12 or episode number 12 of the Arabian Pleb show or podcast. A lot's been happening. Where do I start? My hair's grown a little bit. Shit. Little unkept. But I've just been flat out. I've been flat out with building this house. Getting close, everybody. Ooh, there's an earwig on my screen. Get the fuck out of here, you little bastard. You disgusting little critter. I hate those things. I've been petrified of them ever since I was a kid. As soon as I learnt that they were called earwigs, I just had this idea that they want to crawl in my ears. Maybe that's true, I don't know, but that's been my paranoia ever since I was about 10 years old. They got a little hook on their butt or their tail. It looks traumatizing if that was to ever get in anybody's ear. So I've been building this house. It's been a lot. But I'm getting there and I'm grateful and I'm not complaining at all, but that's just my excuse for not doing one of these shows more recently, and it being such a long time in between the last one. There goes my cat, Tilly. I've got two cats, a female, Tilly, that you just seen on screen there, and then Cecil, a boy. Tilly is itching to get outside right now, and I don't want to let her outside because I've got to fuck off after here and go check on what's going on at the house. Fuck, my mic stand's a bit dusty. I better clean that. It's more evidence as to me not doing this for such a long time. But anyway, get on with it, Harrison. So yeah, so that's been what's happening for the last month or so. So the last one I did, it must have been in July, early July. So we're mid-August now. So I've been oiling or like varnishing all my skirting boards and my architraves, and that's what's been consuming most of my time. But I got it all done, so that's great. And just to give you guys an update, don't know if this is interesting, but anyway, I'm gonna say it anyway. It might be interesting to the handful of people out there that listen to this, but I am I'm doing all the, well, not me, but I'm up to the internal painting. So I'm paying guys to paint. They're really good painters. Shout out to Banarain. What's his good friend, went to school together, but what's his the fuck's his bloody company? I want to give him a shout out. Fuck. Bear with me. Hang on. I'm going to give him a shout out. I insist. Pretzel Painting. Hey, Tilly. Pretzel. Yes, sweetie. I promise. I will play with you. Let me just do this. I got to go check on the house, and then I'll play with you. I promise. Poor thing. Pretzel Painting. Banarain. Should I? Anyway, I'm sure if you Google it, I think he's got a Facebook thing. So if you jump on Facebook, Pretzel Painting, great guy, does great work, and really, really competitive, really good prices. So yeah, shout out to him. He's doing a great job. Painted the outside, most of the outside. Now painting the inside, and then he's going to go back to the outside and finish off the handrails and balustrades and slats and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, so that's happening. And then, yeah, so I spent like the last month varnishing all these skirts. So we're doing like exposed timber skirting boards and architraves and door jambs and door stops and whatever. So I've just been varnishing all that. That's been a bit of a nightmare, but glad to have knocked it on the head. There's only a couple of small pieces because there's a couple of small pieces that are left because my carpenter, who's my brother-in-law, when he did it all, he had to leave just some small parts in the kitchen because we hadn't yet had our benches installed by the cabinet maker, so he didn't know where to stop, with the skirting boards. So now that's all been installed, now he can skirt right up to where they start, and then that'll all be done. So I've got a little bit more to do, but that's it. But for the most part, it's done. Fantastic. Had the driveway done, so the driveway's done. I should wonder if okay, I'll see if I can. I don't have a good photo. Ah, fuck it. Anyway, on another one, I'll sort of show you some photos of what it's looking like. But yeah, so the driveway done. Yeah, then we just got like the fit off with like the plumber and the electrician doing all the switches and the lights and the fans, and the plumber doing the taps and the toilets and the bathtub and whatever. And then I don't think, and then, solar hot water system. I really regret getting a solar hot water system. I had no idea that a solar hot water system was mounted on your roof. It is so shit. I don't want a hot water system on my roof, but I have to do it now because it's been council approved. And then to change it, I'd have to go back to the council and give them another wad of cash and go through the rigmarole of the time it takes for them to process it. Hey, sweetie. Yes, darling. I know. Here, why don't you say hello to the lovely people on YouTube? Come here. Hey, Tilly. Hello. Aren't you a little angel? Hey, you want to say something? All right, I'll put you down. Whoop. Whoop. Hang on. Sorry about that. A good friend of mine, my old landlord actually, bloody champion anyway, he's lending me a chainsaw. Just let me know what's going on. So anyway, that's fantastic. Where was I? Can't remember where I was. But anyway, all right, enough about, so yeah, whatever. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but we keep marching forward, onwards and upwards, keep persisting and try and stay as consistent as possible and keep putting this content out there because I quite enjoy it. And if even one other person out there enjoys it, then I feel like I've done my job. All right, so I want to start with just the usual sort of thing, what I normally do, which is go and have a look at the markets. I'd be curious, I don't know what where things were when I last looked at gold, but this is gold in Australian dollars right here, trading at $5,129.92. And I think my last episode I did, we had this downward sloping parallel channel and we might have busted out of it and then sort of broke back inside the channel. Well, since then, there's been a lot of chop. And as you can see, so what I'll do, I'll get rid of this parallel channel because it's no longer relevant. But as you can see, I've drawn these new lines here and a pendant has formed. And if I can look at my eyes just look crazy then. Sorry, I'm just going to go out of screen for a second. But so a bullish pendant. Now, I don't know what the odds are of this playing out, but as you can see, so one touch, so one touch on the top, two, so on the one on the bottom, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches on top and bottom in total. And I think what Mitch Ray says, which then he's standing on the shoulders of giants, he gets he references a lot of his research from other people like Thomas Bulkowski and I don't know, there's a lot of names, I can't remember them all. But anyway, so what he says, what other smart people say is basically if you've got at least 5 touches, then it's a valid pattern, and then there's a certain amount of there's a certain probability of this going to the upside, basically, because the trend is your friend, as Mitch would say too. So we're in a bullish upward trend, and then we have this consolidation period and this pendant pattern has formed, and then there's a certain probability that it breaks to the upside and continues on, which I think it's likely. I mean, like let's go to a longer time scale, let's go to a weekly chart, but we're talking about gold here, which is just effectively responding to monetary policy, and monetary policy is such that money printer go burr, the central banks are just going to keep printing money, and that devalues the value of the dollar of each individual unit of currency. And if they're going to do that, then things priced in dollars are going to go up in price because the value of the thing that it's being priced in is going down. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, trend is your friend, trend is up. And then we've got this consolidation pattern. And so it's quite likely that once the consolidation completes, the sellers will capitulate and the price will go up. So that's that in a nutshell. But then also, yeah, so as we get closer and closer to this apex, to this, then the probability of it breaking out is a lot higher. So let's see. Could be just talking fucking bullshit, couldn't I? But so that's where we're at. So we've got this pendant happening on gold priced in Australian dollars. Let's go to gold priced in US dollars. I reckon it's going to be pretty similar. Not as dramatic of a pendant, but as you can see, it's pretty much the same, really. I'll just draw this up so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, we've got another pendant. Really tight consolidation happening there on gold in US dollars, $3,360.65. Let's have a look at silver. Keep it in US dollars just for now. Silver's looking good. Silver's looking phenomenal, especially in US dollars, $38.56.47. And yeah, just another upwards trend. Just have a look at what it looks like on a longer time scale. Let's look at a weekly chart. So yeah, massive. Looking great. Still hasn't broken all-time highs of about $50, $49 and change, 80 odd cents thereabouts. That was back in 2011. I think also back in the 80s. It was also, yeah, look at that. Look at that. So the 80s was slightly lower, $48.11. So yeah, long way to go to get or not massive long way to go, but still a ways to go before we get all-time highs. But let's look at silver in Aussie dollars, because the Aussie dollar is so shit. We would be at all-time highs for sure. Let's have a look, because I think it was pretty similar. So 2011, $46. And then I'd say in the 80s, it was probably less. Oh, this chart doesn't go back that far. It only goes back to 2007. But anyway, so I think it's safe to say all-time highs and continuing. Silver in Aussie dollars, $58.87.92 currently intraday trading. And I may as well just have a quick look at these other markets. So the S&P 500, 6,462.2 on the S&P 500, top 500 companies in America. Let's have a look at the ASX 200. It's the Australian Stock Exchange. Whoops. And we're at 8,888. 8888. Sorry. All-time highs. Yep. Cool. The currencies are just being printed into oblivion. So, of course, the price of everything all around us goes up. That's just how it works. Okay, let's have a look at the DXY. So this is interesting. So this is the value. This is the US dollar priced against a basket of currencies, and look at that, man. So this was a bearish, pretty much. What is it? Yeah, 382. Yeah, so this is a bearish bat pattern, a complex wave structure, W shape, and at the pattern completion zone, it's a little shallow, like a real. But it doesn't matter. It's kind of like within the margin of error. But you'd want an 886 would be like the real pattern completion zone. But we've got it. You don't always get it. So this is a 876 pretty much. But yeah, so a bit of a sell-off, definitely since we were last here as well. So 97.719 on the DXY. And that's good for pretty much every other currency around the world if the DXY is selling off, which personally, that's what I want to see. Sorry to all the Americans out there, but it is what it is, guys. You guys have had it really good with the strength of your currency relative to everyone else's. So I think it's about time. It's overdue. It's overdue that the times are changing and the tables flip, as they say, I think. Okay, and now we're looking at the Aussie dollar priced against the US dollar, and as you can see, it's just been this downtrend since February 21. Oh, well, even longer if you want to go back further. It's just been a savage downtrend, really, since 2011, I'm pretty sure. Let's go to a monthly chart so you can really see it. Yeah. So since 2011-ish, May, March 2011, downtrend, disgusting. And then really pretty much, if you want to go back even further, pretty much since its inception, since we pegged our dollar to the US dollar, it has just been nothing but down. It's pretty bad, isn't it? It's terrible. Okay. That's all I want to look at, I think. May as well have a look at Bitcoin. Just because whatever. It's running. She's running. $123,136.40 to date. It's on a daily. Let's have a look at the daily chart. Yeah, so it made a fresh all-time high yesterday. I mean, not intraday. I think like intraday. Back in July the 14th, July the 15th. That was my dad's birthday, July the 15th. It had gotten up there before, but it had never closed. So now the highest daily candle close, $123,102.24. That's wild. And then intraday it got up as high as $124,482.10. Yeah. And same thing, same kind of, even though, I don't know, like people have got their opinions about crypto and whether it actually is whatever, store of value, but I don't even want to get into any of that. But just the way it's been acting ever since its inception, it's hard to argue that it isn't responding to monetary policy. And the more that governments around the world print their money and destroy the value of their currency, the more the price of Bitcoin relative to those currencies keeps going up. So that's that. Shout out to my friend Nick, Cosmic Surfer. I haven't been in touch with him much lately. I'm so sorry, dude, if you do watch this. Much love, bro. I know you're going through it too, so I hope you're well. Hope everything's all good. I've just had a lot going on, man. So, but we will get. So we do a podcast together, The Great Retardation, Chronicles of the Great Retardation. We will get that going again soon. I've just, once I get a bit more time, pretty much once this house is done, man. I've just got to get it done. I reckon I'll be done by November. I'm also, that's what I was going to say before. I'm going to, let's get off this screen here. So anyway, that's the markets. I've done the market wrap up, but I'm going to Canada. Fuck me. Going to Canada. My sister's getting married, which is super exciting. So I'm going over there. I'm leaving in less than 2 weeks. I'm leaving on the 27th of August, and I'll be back on the 24th of September. So going for a bit of a holiday. So going for the wedding. That's the 4th of September, and then just going to hang out with my sister and her husband, her future husband, from then onwards for a few weeks, which is going to be great. Can't wait. Love it over there. Last time I was there was 10 years ago, so it'll be good to be back and to hang out with her, and all her friends are all lovely people, and it's always a good time. So, yep, really looking forward to that. But so anyway, so worst timing, terrible timing, Melody, if you listen to this. Why couldn't you just get married next year or something? But no, it's all good. There's so much dust on this fucking thing, man. I got to clean it. So get that out of the way, finish off the house, and then get straight back into doing more Great Retardation podcasts with my good friend Cosmic Surfer. All right. Okay, so there's a couple of things to talk about, like other things. Just some sort of general shiz that's been going on X, which I thought would be kind of interesting to just comment on. There's a whole feud happening right now with Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, for those who don't know who Nick Fuentes is, he's like a young right winger, internet, commentator. Very talented young man, very well spoken, can just like riff into a camera. Very articulate. You can tell he's really well educated, got a really high IQ. I don't agree with him on everything, but it's pretty much everybody. I don't agree with everything with anybody really, except for maybe Dave Smith. That's pretty much it. And even I'm sure there'd be maybe a tiny disagreement with him on some things, but for the most part, he'd probably be the person who I most align with philosophically and politically and economically. But yeah, other than that, yeah, most people, but still, it doesn't mean that people who you may have some disagreements with, you can also agree with on a lot of other things, and there can be some interesting stuff there, regardless of any disagreements. Even if it's something that I do completely disagree with, it still might be interesting to just hear that point of view and sort of play around with those ideas. So, but anyway, Nick Fuentes. So anyways, he's just like, whatever, like he's a far right winger as the media would put it. But I actually don't think he's that far right wing, to be honest. I don't think he goes far enough, if you're asking me. And people's idea of like what right wing means and left wing is just a whole nother kettle of fish too that I'm not going to go into right now. But anyway, so him and Candace Owens, and so Nick Fuentes is like a right wing internet personality commentator guy, and then Candace Owens is also she's a right wing internet personality commentator type, but she differs with Fuentes on certain things and whatever. Anyway, and they're having some big feud. And then there's been some like more information coming out after their feud, and they're kind of going after each other a little bit and kind of accusing each other of being like industry plants or controlled opposition, feds, all sorts of wild shit. Anyway, I find it interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to anybody else, but I would like to play this. So I'm going to play. So there's this clip of Fuentes sort of going off on like Tucker Carlson and Trump's like inner circle, like his vice president, JD Vance, and then the guy that like funded JD Vance, Peter Thiel, and that whole mob. So anyway, let's play the clip and then let's comment on it afterwards. All right, so hopefully I've got all this working. Actually, before I play it, I need to get some headphones because I don't want the audio to double up. So just give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. All right, I think I'm good. Got my headphones. All right, so let's play this clip and then let's comment on it afterwards.
Peter Thiel, the FBI informant and CIA contractor, Elon Musk, the defense contractor and PayPal mafia member with Peter Thiel, close confidant of David Sacks, and JD Vance, who brokered the David Sacks fundraiser with Silicon Valley and Trump, mentored by Peter Thiel, mentored by David Frum, who worked for Bill Kristol with Tucker Carlson. Thiel, Musk, and Tucker lobbied Trump to pick Vance, and they said, if you don't, the CIA will kill you. Who's the CIA? Who does the CIA, NSA, FBI, DHS, who do they all contract with? Palantir, founded by Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and Joe Lonsdale, Israel First Jews that after October 7th flew their board to Israel and provided them with facial recognition technology to murder Palestinians. JD Vance, who upon becoming the VP nominee in his first interview said, we're going to bomb Iran, who went to the Quincy Institute and said, we need a pro-Israel spin on America first. Tucker, who interviewed Vance 46 times on his show, Vance hired his son. Vance's Rockbridge network was the spawning point of 1789 Capital, founded by Rebecca Mercer and Claire Monster Chris Buskirk, which gave Tucker $15 million. Rebecca Mercer funded Steve Bannon at Breitbart that spawned Milo Yiannopoulos' career. And Rebecca Mercer hand-selected George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, to run Parler in 2021. This is why they want me dead. Who's the Fed? Who's the Fed here? Because I brought all the receipts.
All right. So Fuentes just going off. Now, I've got to say, I got no fucking idea. I don't know how true any of that is. I mean, like, I do know some things are true, like Peter Thiel funding JD Vance and all that sort of stuff. But then there's other things that he's throwing in there, like so-and-so giving Tucker $15 million and Tucker, Thiel, and Musk lobbying Trump to pick JD Vance as his vice president. I don't fucking know. I don't know how he knows. I've got no idea. But it's funny as fuck. It's fascinating, you know, like this this kind of crack up of the America First movement and the splits and the infighting. Like, I agree with Fuentes when he's criticizing the America Firsters, the ones who claim to be America First but put Israel first above all. You can't have it both ways. You can't be America First and Israel first. It's one or the other. So I agree with him there that those two things are in conflict. So definitely, like Peter, I reckon Tucker's very America First, and he's been doing some good stuff on calling out Israel's bullshit, or, you know, specifically Benjamin Netanyahu and the Likud party and all those guys. So yeah, I think Tucker's been, you know, and he's been interviewing like Dave Smith and John Mearsheimer. He had him on the show recently. Daryl Cooper, all these guys who are like really good on the issue, and like morally speaking as well. You know, like just calling out you know, the Israeli government for just decimating Gaza, and also doing some horrible shit in the West Bank as well. You know, like just killing hundreds and hundreds of people and taking people prisoner and torturing people, and, you know, just all this awful stuff to these Palestinians that are in these occupied areas. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Tucker's a bit different. But yeah, like Tucker had Candace on a little while ago, a few weeks ago now, and then they were really going after Nick Fuentes and calling him out and basically calling him a fed. And so, but let's get into so, you know, I don't know. I just find all this stuff kind of like interesting. It's kind of like just like fucking drama and whatever, but yeah, it's probably necessary because we do really want to get to the bottom of why the Israeli government seems to have so much influence over the American government, and seemingly get a blank check from the Americans in order to do whatever they want, up into and including just slaughtering tens and tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. And nothing, and even like fuck, there's so many horrible articles. If you go to antiwar.com, it's just like every day there's hundreds of, at least 100. There's like as Scott Horton would put it, it's like the Waco massacre happening again and again and again. Just every day there's just a Waco massacre worth of women and children being slaughtered, and men too. Don't forget the men, but you know, the women and children is just like, yeah, there's no way that women and children can be fighting age males. So that's why it's good to point that out. But yeah, like it's just fucking horrific what they're doing. And more countries are calling bullshit and saying this has got to stop. But for whatever reason, America, who is the biggest supplier of arms and aid and money to the Israelis, they're not budging, and they're just giving them whatever they want, blank check. But on antiwar.com, if you go to it, like there's just headlines like the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, just shooting poor, innocent, starving Palestinians at aid sites. They're going to these aid sites to try and get food, and they're just being shot. And in many cases as well, having like mortars shot at them and artillery shells and at people. Like, how can you claim that like they're Hamas, that they're potential terrorists, when they're going to an aid site to just try and get some food? It's fucked up. But let me go to this next clip. Do I have it here? Yeah. So I don't know. This is interesting, and I thought the two things are interesting here. So this is this is Milo Yiannopoulos, right? So Milo, and who Nick was calling out just in that rant before, clip that I just showed, the previous one. So Milo, and I want to read this because there's a community note at the bottom here. So community notes, for those that don't know, are Twitter or X's way of like fact checking, but it's not third party companies fact checking. It's hang on, let me hold that thought. Community notes, hold that thought. Hang on. Sorry about that. But so the community note. So it's a way. It's like, yeah, instead of what like Facebook and Instagram and all that did during like the censorship regime a few years ago. So what X does is there's certain users. They're just, and there's a lot of them. Like I think there's like, I don't know how many, but there's a lot of, so certain people, if you've got like a big enough account and enough credibility, I guess, you can become part of the community notes community, where it's like a decentralized way of fact checking people's post. If it gets enough traction, if it gets like, millions of people viewing a certain post, then that, and they're making like a truth claim, then that may warrant people from the community notes to just verify whether the truth claim is accurate. But let's just read this because I think this is like an example of the community notes not doing a good job. So it says here, so Milo Yiannopoulos, so he says no charges because Nick was one of the 30 or so confidential informants working for the FBI on January 6 to entrap Trump voters. His victims were tortured for years in jail. At least 5 are dead. So he's referring to the January 6 fucking thing. I don't know. And people want to call it an insurrection. It's not an insurrection. Not one of those January 6s. Those people that stormed the Capitol on that day were armed. Like not one of them. Not one of them brought a gun. And they're all Trump voting right wingers. They all have guns, but they didn't bring guns to the Capitol. So that's not an insurrection. Let's look up the definition of insurrection. Fuck yous. Alrighty, the definition of insurrection: a violent uprising against an authority or government. And if you look at the footage, so there were like some small clips, and this is why short clips aren't always great, because it's easier to take things out of context and cherry pick. But there was some short clips going around shortly after the 6th of January, 2021, and it showed like, a mob of people being quite violent, shaking the fence and looking like that they were really like trying to storm the Capitol and be really violent. But then maybe, I don't know how long it was later, but maybe like a year later or something, Tucker Carlson, when he was still at Fox News, he obtained like tens and tens of hours of footage from that day, because you got to think like the Capitol building in America, the White House and whatever, they've got to have cameras everywhere, and they do. So he got the footage. I think it was like 40 hours worth of footage from all different cameras and different angles. And what it showed was, in many cases, police removing barricades, moving fences, and allowing these protesters to enter the building, and mostly was very peaceful. People can argue with me about that shit, but go look at the footage. And in some cases as well, like police escorting, like pretty much giving like a tour to these mobs of people, showing them through the building and taking them to different parts of the building, and yeah, so like I keep thinking of the Summer of Love, the George Floyd riots, and how the media was trying to portray that as mostly peaceful, as they're standing in the middle of the street and there's like cars burning behind them and buildings on fire. Like, but this seriously was like mostly peaceful. The J6 incident was really. It was just like a cook up. Like they made it out to be this thing to, sort of, anyway, whatever. I'm not even that married to it, but I'm just like, just the truth is the truth, fuck is. And it wasn't the way the media were making it out to be. But there were, so let's get back to the thing. So he's saying no charges because Nick was one of the 30 or so confidential informants working for the FBI on January 6 to entrap Trump voters. His victims were tortured for years in jail, which is true. A lot of these people got rounded up and went to jail, and it was only through a presidential pardon from Trump, once he got back into power late last year or early this year, that he got a lot of those people released, and rightfully so, because they didn't do fucking nothing wrong. And the only person that died that day on January 6th was an innocent woman, one of the people, one of the Trump supporters who got shot by a cop. So, yeah. So then let's go to the community note. Milo Yiannopoulos claims that Nick Fuentes was an FBI informant on January 6, 2021 is false. Sorry, let me read that again. Milo Yiannopoulos' claim that Nick Fuentes was an FBI informant on January 6, 2021 is false. The Department of Justice Inspector General's 2023 report states no undercover FBI employees were present and informants were not authorized to participate. That's fucking bullshit. And because I'll tell you why I know that's bullshit. Who the fuck was Ray Epps? Who was Ray Epps? Ray Epps. Who was this guy? Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about Ray Epps. I know Wikipedia is not the most reliable source, but let's just see what it says. James Ray Epps, born May 28th, 1961, is an American wedding planner and a former Oath Keepers chapter president who was one of the rioters at the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Epps served as a United States Marine for 4 years. Following the January 6, conspiracy theories were shared on Twitter and by former Fox News host Tucker Carlson, accusing Epps of being an agent provocateur and linking his wife to Dominican voting systems. In July 2023, Epps sued Fox News for defamation. On November 27, 2024, the lawsuit was dismissed for failure to prove actual malice. In September 2023, Epps was charged with and pleaded guilty to a single misdemeanor count of disorderly conduct for his participation in the attack, and was sentenced to a year of probation by Judge James Boasberg. Probably not pronouncing that right. On January 20, 2025, the first day of the second presidency of Donald Trump, Epps was pardoned along with more than 1,500 others who received pardons or commutations regarding the events of January 6th. So anyway, but the point of bringing him up is that Ray Epps... so all these people went to jail under Joe Biden, right? Like 1,500 of them, whatever Wikipedia said. But he was one of, I'm sure there was maybe a handful of others, but he was one of a handful of people that never got arrested and never went to jail. until much later, as Wikipedia just said then. But there was footage of him like asking people to storm the Capitol. And it was just like so obvious. His face was plastered everywhere. There was so much footage of him telling people to storm the Capitol. Let's storm the Capitol. And then I should try and find it, but there's most the people who he was trying to encourage to storm the Capitol and go riot and be violent and do all this stuff. They were all calling him out, going, "He's a fed," because they know, they're like, we're not going to be that stupid as to actually go like break things up or whatever. Believe from the footage, and correct me if I'm wrong, go look at the 40 hours of footage that Tucker Carlson released. Most of the people that entered the Capitol building, and I say most, but most of the people that entered the Capitol building did so after being let in by the cops. Like the cops opening up the barricades and the fencing and allowing them to go in. So very few people were like actually breaking in and going in there without being let in. But let me also just say that for all the talk of like the government is the people's house and the government buildings are the people's buildings, that didn't seem to be the case now, did it? Maybe this whole democracy thing is a fucking sham, and it's not how most people think that it is when we go on about, well, when the government does something, that's just the will of the people. That all seems like a lot of bullshit when you actually look at the reality of when these sort of things play out and what actually ends up happening. But so just that community note seems like bullshit because they're saying that, there was no FBI present because the Department of Justice said so. Well, or the Department of Justice Inspector General's report said so. But I think that's crap because I think Ray Epps and I think that there's a handful of other people that seem like government informants to me and FBI assets to me. But so let's play this clip. So this is kind of interesting because this is where back to the Nick Fuentes saga with him and Candace Owens and everything that's going on with their feud. This is pretty damning, I think.
Peter Thiel.
Hang on.
The FBI.
So let's play this one. So this is a clip. So right here, this guy right here, that's Nick Fuentes. And wait till you hear him talking on this microphone. You can clearly hear, like he's got a very distinct voice. It's clearly him, and his cadence, the way he talks. This is Nick Fuentes, and have a listen to this. And this guy also, like, I don't know, I'm just saying, but this is a fact that this guy also was someone who was there who, when you listen to what he's saying things that let's just play it. Well, now, here we have clear evidence of Nick Fuentes encouraging people to storm the Capitol. And he never got arrested. That was what I was trying to get at before. Was like he was one of the handful of people that there is clear evidence of him encouraging people to storm the Capitol and take the building, and this is our building, and blah, blah, blah. And he's someone who never got arrested. Now, a lot of things did happen to him, like he's had his bank accounts shut down and banned from all these social media platforms and PayPal. And so I'm not saying like he never suffered any consequences, but I don't know if that's in direct response to him being at the Capitol building or if that happened before or long after. I don't know. But, there he is. Yeah, I don't know. So all this shit's fucking interesting. I don't know. What's this other one? Oh, Seth Rogen. Okay, so I found this kind of interesting too. Let's have a listen to this one.
I also think that as a Jewish person, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life.
Yeah.
They never tell you that. Oh, by the way, there were people there. They make it seem like it was just they're sitting there. The doors open.
Hours for the taking.
It literally, they forget to include the fact to every young Jewish person, basically, oh, by the way, there were people there. I'm afraid of Jews. I'm 100% afraid of Jews.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It would be nice to live somewhere that was not a part of the Christian apocalyptic prophecy. It is also probably a good idea. It's maybe settle somewhere that the Christians don't think you all have to die in order for the
and then they want us all to go there. They need a certain number.
They need us to go there so we can die. So the apocalypse.
But could you imagine living in Israel? Would you ever go live in Israel?
No, it would be. I also think that as a
so Seth Rogen spitting some facts. Yes, there were people in historic Palestine or whatever. There were people in that part of the land, in that part of the world, on that piece of land before the creation of Israel. That's a fact. And the early Zionist settlers who created the state of Israel all came from Eastern Europe, all came from different parts of Europe and South Africa and whatever else, like Poland and Germany. And it was all after World War II. Everyone accepts that. So the idea that but that's kind of cool. I reckon that's pretty powerful. Seth Rogen's a Jew, so anytime you have it does strengthen the argument. Anytime you have someone who's part of that group, but then calling that group out is helpful. I think to strengthen your argument as to what's actually going on and what the truth of the matter is. What else have we got? I think there's not much else. These are just the things I've been bookmarking on X. Just interesting stuff. But anyway, I'll leave it there. My throat's actually starting to get a bit hoarse. It's been a while since I've done this much talking into a microphone by myself. So 47 minutes isn't bad, I don't think, for a first episode back. So I'm back, bitches. Probably not for long. I'll probably go on I'll probably get real busy again and won't do another one of these for a month or something, but I'll try my best. I don't like doing them not in my office, and sorry, forgive me if you have a look at all my shit. My office is messy as all bloody hell. I've got all those trophies. So I run what do I run? I run I'm taking his headphones off. I run the local tennis tournament at my local tennis club. I'm the tournament director. I'm the Craig Tiley of my club, the Moolumbar Tennis Club. There we go. I said it. Whatever. Excuse me. So anyway, but yeah, so I have to organise all the trophies and I run the tournaments. So we had the singles tournament last weekend. We got that's men's and women's. Then we got the men's and women's doubles this weekend, and then the mixed doubles the following. Hey, Tilly. So yeah, and then once it's all wrapped up, then we do a presentation night and we hand out all the trophies. So yeah, I just got shit everywhere, paperwork everywhere, all stuff to do with the house. And anyway, but yep. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll put this one out as soon as I can. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. I always forget to say this, but yeah, like the video if you like this content or whatever. If you find any of this stuff interesting, please like it, please share it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Arabian Pleb. Follow me on X at what's my fucking thing at Arab Ancap, ARABANCAP, Arab Ancap on X, where you get my hot takes or Dave Smith clips that I share. That's about it. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a lovely. So today, what's today? Thursday, 14th of August. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day, rest of the week, and a lovely weekend, and I'll catch you guys soon. All right. Peace out, everybody.